The sour, nose-curling smell of a dairy farm once dominated San Luis Obispo when it was the leading dairy county in California. But now you will only experience that pungent smell in one location on the Central Coast. The Cal Poly Dairy may be the last working dairy in the 805, but it houses over 200 of the friendliest cows in California and has made Cal Poly one of the top dairy science schools in the nation.
It's one of the only totally student-run dairies in the United States. Of course, it's the only dairy in the county. It's one of the only university dairies that really has maintained both really good quality Holsteins and Jerseys. It's used extensively for teaching.
Rich Salachi, the herd manager at the dairy, is responsible for teaching 30 students that are employed by the dairy each quarter how to run and work the dairy all by themselves.
So all the students, it's like a four-man team that come each day to just during chore time. So the students get here about 3:45 a.m. and p.m. and the milking begins at 4. There's 2 students that do the milking. While that's happening, there's a student that does all the feeding for all the animals on the dairy, and then the 4th student that takes care of our hospital cows and feeds all the calves. So they all start at about 3:45 a.m. and p.m. and then that whole shift usually finishes up about 7:30. So it's somewhere around a 4-hour shift for everybody that's here.
My name is Mackenzie Gomes and I'm an agricultural communications major, and I am a milker here on the dairy as well as a calf feeder. So these are bull calves that were born yesterday, and we have calves born here about 1 or 2 every few days. So,
despite being a full-functioning dairy, every once in a while they get a few reminders that they are still on a college campus.
Came to work one morning to find that an entire block of hay was missing from the dairy. And it was it's like 60-something bales of oat hay were gone. And I knew we didn't feed it all the day before, so first thing was to call campus police and tell them that, hey, for some reason, somebody came in during the night and stole an entire block full of hay. So they said, okay, we'll do a little investigation. About an hour later, they found all our hay at one of the local frat houses, which had gotten turned into a water slide down their driveway. And everything was fine. It wasn't that big a deal. And we made an agreement with everybody brought the hay back, and it was unharmed and undamaged, and everything was fine. But that might be one of my most entertaining moments. the majority of my position is the overall management of the herd, which consists of teaching and organizing the 25 to 30 students that work here each quarter, from doing the milking and feeding, calf raising. So all the labor is provided by the students that are here. So the bulk of my job is training the students and coordinating their labor and teaching them the newest and the best ways of kind of what the industry is doing in managing dairy cattle. I guess I have two favorite parts, but it's all kind of one. So working with the students and the cows, because that was always my first love, was managing cows, but being able to work with the students that are here, both that students that have a lot of expertise already because they come from dairies, and some that have absolutely none, and making that blend together so kind of working with students and cows is fun. That's enjoyable. Yeah.
So I'm in charge of milking 3 strings of dairy cattle here, both Holsteins and Jerseys, and our shift goes from about 3:45 to about 7:30, morning and night. And night.
And what's your favorite part about working at the Cal Poly Dairy?
My favorite part about working here is just sharing the experience with people who may not have had the same blessing as I did to grow up on a dairy farm. And we get to just teach people who aren't as familiar with agriculture about it, and then they actually get to work and have real life experience with the animals alongside us. So it's just really exciting to teach others about what I've been doing my whole life. I would say that my favorite part about the Cal Poly Dairy is just the diversity in the employees. Like I said, there's a lot of people who have never touched a cow before they worked here, and we also get a lot of visitors, and we get to share that experience with them and teach them lots of things here. Well, the cows here are a lot friendlier than any other dairy I've ever been to. They're basically pets because they're raised by students their whole lives, so they're super friendly. And my very first shift here, I let about 50 of them out on accident, and it takes a long time to get them back in their pens because they're so friendly and they just want to play instead of run from you. So it's an interesting experience. So these are bull calves that were born yesterday, and we have calves born here about 1 or 2 every few days. So these are the bull calves.